It's safe to say that the festive season is upon us. Christmas is just around the corner and people are starting to get really excited. I'd like to wish all of our students, past, present and future, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from both myself and all of the trainers here at Johnston K9. Whilst Christmas can be a fun time for us, it's important to remember that it can be potentially dangerous for our dogs. There's a few items that we have out quite regularly at Christmas time that can cause them serious problems if we're not paying attention to what we're doing with them. I'm going to go through a few of these items now, and hopefully this information will keep you out of an emergency out of hours vet come Christmas Day. Okay, so let's start with chocolate. Chocolate contains a chemical called theobromine. Theobromine is poisonous to not only our dogs but our other pets like cats, rabbits and rodents. Generally speaking, the darker the chocolate, the more theobromine it contains, and thus the more toxic it is to our pets. Initial signs of chocolate poisoning can be vomiting, diarrhea, muscle spasming, twitching, fitting, and in large enough quantities this can cause severe heart problems and often be fatal. If your dog consumes a large amount of dark chocolate, contact the vet immediately. Moving on to the next one. Okay, so next it's grapes, raisins, currants and sultanas. All of these things are toxic to our dog, and the dry version, the currants and sultanas, are often considered more toxic. It's not known as to why they are actually toxic, nor is it known to the quantities in which will make the dog ill. Some dogs can eat a lot of these and nothing happens, whilst other dogs can eat very little of these and suffer severe consequences. Dogs that do have problems with these can often show signs like vomiting and diarrhea, and that can often lead to things like kidney failure. Kidney failure can often show between 24 and 72 hours after the consumption of these items, and might show with symptoms like reduced urination, lethargy, increased consumption of water, that sort of thing. Okay, so if you suspect your dog has consumed some sultanas, some grapes or currants, that sort of thing, again, contact the vet immediately. Next on the list is macadamia nuts, often quite popular at this time of the year and again quite toxic to our dogs. It's not known as to why they're toxic to our dogs or as to the amount that can be toxic to our dogs. It's just known that some dogs will suffer problems if they consume them. Symptoms to look out for is a weakness of limbs, often the back legs, dull, sleepy, wobbly on their feet, or perhaps appearing in pain or stiff when they walk. Vomiting, tremors, lethargy and increased body temperature can follow, and these symptoms often appear within 12 hours and can last up to a couple of days. Sometimes these macadamia nuts are covered in chocolate, which obviously pose a double threat. Again, if your dog's consumed something that it shouldn't, seek professional advice straight away. Next one to the blue cheeses. Blue cheeses contain a substance called Rock14C. This is a substance created by the fungus within the cheese that gives that blue cheese its distinctive colour. Dogs appear to be quite sensitive to this substance and in extreme cases can quickly form muscle tremors and seizures. Again, if your dog's eaten some blue cheese and is showing signs of illness, contact a professional immediately. Next on the list is alcohol. Dogs are believed to be more sensitive to ethanol than humans, so even a small amount of alcohol could be harmful to your dog. Certain drinks will be more appealing to your dogs, such as the sweet, creamy drinks or the egg-based drinks. When a dog consumes too much alcohol, it will display the same symptoms as a human will. Wobbly on its legs, slow, lethargic, sleepy, vomiting, that sort of stuff. It will also do the other things that we do when we get a little bit inebriated. It will make the wrong choices. Put in a situation where it's stressed, it may make the wrong choice because it's had too much to drink. It's not funny to give your dog a beer at Christmas. There are dog-based beers out there that you can buy that have no alcohol in them. If you want your dog to enjoy a beer with you at Christmas, get it one of those. Next on the list are bones. When bones are cooked, they become brittle and easily splinter. If you're eating a chicken, turkey or goose this year, after all the meat's been removed from the carcass, put it in a bag and put the bag in a bin outside, away from your dog, well before the drinks start to flow. That way you can enjoy your dinner safely without knowing your dog's going to cause itself potential problems by pillaging the dustbin and eating the chicken carcass. Next on the list is the Allium species, so that's onions, leeks, shallots, chives and yes, garlic. Garlic might be considered a healing herb to us humans, but it's something that canines don't deal very well with. These plants all contain a substance which may cause your dog a problem in making red blood cells. This can go on to create life-threatening anemia. If your dog has eaten a member of the Allium family, it may show signs of vomiting, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, lethargy, off its food, and perhaps even rapid breathing. Again, if you suspect your dog has eaten a large quantity of Alliums, get it to the vet straight away. Next on the list are high fatty foods. Whilst these aren't exactly toxic to our dogs, they can cause severe bouts of vomiting and diarrhea. Large prolonged high fatty diets can produce pancreatitis. This is a life-threatening illness for your dog and can be very expensive to treat. All dogs should be on a well-balanced diet. The occasional treat at Christmas time isn't going to hurt them. Be responsible with your tidbits and your scraps. If you're giving your dog scraps at Christmas time, first check it's okay for your dog to eat that food, and then secondly reduce its normal biscuit intake or its normal meat intake, whatever it is that you feed your dog. Reduce that. You're giving it a high calorie substitute by providing the scraps off the table. Next on the list is just mouldy food in general. Your dog shouldn't be allowed to eat mouldy food. Mould can cause problems for your dog in numerous different ways. One substance found mostly on dairy products, bread and nuts can quickly cause your dog to develop muscle spasms, seizures and fits. These can last for up to 2 days. Keep your dog away from mouldy food. If you compost your food, compost it in an area that your dog can't get to. It isn't stupid, and if it suspects that there's free tidbits outside in the garden, it will know exactly where to go and find them. Just be careful with what you're doing. Next on the list are the sweets and sweeteners. The most concerning of these to us are the sugar-free ones. Sugar-free sweets contain sweeteners, and sweeteners are very often quite dangerous to our dogs. The most dangerous of the sweeteners to our dogs is called xylitol. Xylitol is found naturally and is commonly extracted from the birch tree. It's found in such commercial products like gum, candy, baking goods, peanut butter and even toothpaste. Although tolerated by humans, xylitol can be very poisonous to dogs. When swallowed by canines, xylitol is absorbed rapidly. Vomiting can be seen within 30 minutes, however often signs are delayed for up to 12 hours. If left untreated, dogs may eventually develop seizures and collapse. Xylitol stimulates insulin secretion within the canine's body. This can lower the blood sugar levels, which can create the dog to be lethargic and sometimes, in worst cases, enter a diabetic coma. Keep them away from commercially made sweeteners, candy, gums, peanut butter and toothpaste. Large ingestions of xylitol have also been linked with liver failure within canines. This is not a substance to be played around with. It's a very common substance in our kitchens, in our cupboards. Please be careful. Moving out of the food groups and into plants. A very popular plant at this time of year is called the poinsettia. It looks like this. It's often considered to be very toxic towards dogs, but this can be quite over-exaggerated. Consumption of this plant normally leads to excessive salivation and vomiting. Next on the list is the holly. Whilst this plant is generally considered to be quite low in toxicity, its spiky leaves can cause physical injury if trod on or swallowed, and the berries can cause your dog to be sick or have diarrhea. Keep your eye on what your dog's doing when you're out there enjoying your Christmas morning walk, and everything should be okay. Next on the list is the ivy. This doesn't cause a massive threat to our dogs, however it is a common species found all over Europe and America. Eating of the foliage can cause a stomach upset to our dogs, whilst prolonged exposure to the leaves and vines may cause a skin irritation. Next on the list is the mistletoe. This is a very festive shrub, and the European version is not particularly dangerous to dogs. If your canine eats the berries, you can expect some salivation and some vomiting, whilst the American version of this plant is considered to be quite dangerous to dogs. So, folks over here in the UK, if you're buying mistletoe from the shops, check where that product has come from. If you're out there walking in the woods, it's probably okay. Our cousins over the pond in America, you need to be a little bit more careful with this product. Make sure that your dogs aren't chewing on any of the berries. Moving on to potpourri, you know those wonderful bowls of magical goodness that Grandma spreads around the house to make it smell lovely, often coloured bright and beautifully so we have no idea what's inside it. These things can be a potential to identify, so stop trying. The main thing that concerns us is the large pieces that may cause a choke hazard. Whilst older dogs might not be interested in this sort of thing, new young puppies that are experiencing this for the first time will certainly be interested in the smell that that bowl's giving off. Keep it high, keep it out of the way, keep your puppy safe. Next, can't have Christmas without the Christmas tree. Most species of Christmas tree are low in toxicity. Some of the oils produced by the needles can irritate your dog's mouth, creating excessive salivation and vomiting. Things to be more careful of are the sharp pine needles sticking into their paws or sticking into their gums. Other things we need to pay attention to with regards to our Christmas tree, and this is probably more specific to puppies that are just experiencing Christmas for the first time, is the tinsels, the baubles and the flashing lights. Your older dog might not be interested in investigating these, but a puppy that's never seen one before certainly will, and it will want to bite and chew at them. The last thing you want is your dog zapping itself on your Christmas lights or chewing up a bit of glass bauble. Well, under the tree is where we keep the presents, and sometimes the dog will get into them. If you come down Christmas morning to discover your dog's eaten a large amount of wrapping paper or crepe paper, don't panic. You may see discoloration around the mouth that sometimes can look worrying, but these things are considered to be low in toxicity and are highly unlikely to cause your dog a problem. What you do need to be more concerned about is how much of it has eaten, and that could lead to potential blockages in the guts. Keep your eye on your dog's toilet motions for days afterwards to ensure that everything is as normal. If you're concerned that your dog's eaten a really large amount of paper, then take it to a professional straight away. So once our dog's destroyed the Christmas wrapping paper and got into the presents, there's a few other things that it could find potentially dangerous. Those little silica gel packets that are often placed inside handbags and shoes and electrical goods to ensure that they're kept dry are a favourite thing of our dogs to chew. Silica gel is non-toxic, but the packet often says do not eat. This is not because it's toxic, it is because it's a non-food substance and should not be eaten. If your dog has chewed up a silica packet, it's probably not going to suffer any sort of poisoning from it. It's a higher risk of blockage to the bowel or gut. Keep an eye on the dog's motions during the next coming days and ensure that the packet passes through without causing any harm. If you are concerned, take your dog to a professional straight away. Once the dog's destroyed the wrapping paper and eaten the silica packet, the next thing on the menu is the batteries. These can cause problems to our dogs in many ways. Simple blockages to the guts can be one instance, chemical burns or heavy metal poisoning can be the other. After the batteries, that leaves the toy itself. Come Christmas morning, our children are going to be wanting to play with their new toys and showing that thing a lot of interest. Again, this is something that might not affect an older, wiser dog, but a new young dog, brand new puppy to Christmas, is certainly going to be interested in the new things that you're interested in. Little toys often come with small pieces that can get chewed up and swallowed, and again, these things can cause problems by puncturing the bowel or causing an obstruction in the gut. Please be careful with what your children are doing with their small chewable toys. Finally on our list is an item that's not so much a byproduct of Christmas, more a consequence of living in a cold environment. I'm talking about antifreeze. Antifreeze can be very, very dangerous to our dogs. It contains a substance called ethylene glycol. When ingested, ethylene glycol can be very lethal, and it has a sweet taste that seems to be quite appealing to our dogs. The effects of poisoning may initially show themselves as vomiting and diarrhea or weakness and lethargy. Your dog may also display signs of being intoxicated or drunk. An untreated poisoned dog may appear to recover only later to die of kidney failure. Prompt treatment is important if you suspect your dog has consumed any type of antifreeze product. It's imperative that you get this dog to a vet immediately. As with all cases of poisoning, if you suspect your dog has eaten something that it shouldn't, take it to a professional immediately. That person's going to need to know three things: what, when and how. What did your dog eat? When did it eat it? And how much of it do you suspect it was eaten? Please do not try to make your dog sick without consulting a professional first, as sometimes this can often confound problems and make things a lot worse than they initially started off. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've not only found this video entertaining, but it's provided some useful information that will help you protect your dog not only over the coming festive season, but for many years to come. Once again, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, press that bell icon so you're one of the first people to know about our new videos, and share this video with everybody you know. Thanks again. Merry Christmas.